The News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
The hashtag tonight is Kannada only. Tell us what you think. Join us on this conversation, on this debate on Twitter. Engage with us also on involve.in, www.involve.in. And the search string is Newshour or even the hashtag Kannada only. And you can start engaging and we'll put out your views because your views matter along with what our panelists feel today. We say good evening to Rahul Ishwar, Zafar Islam, Shahid Siddiqui with us. Tuhin Sinha, author also with us from Mumbai. We have Aditya Menon, actor joining us. And first, let's start with Prakash Belavadi. So we engaged in the afternoon. You had a few points of view. Let's start with you. You are one of the stronger advocates of Kannada as a language, promoting Kannada. You've worked very hard at it and you've also advocated, but you also speak other languages. What do you see in Bengaluru today by this group called this KRV and this act? Is this not hurting the cause of Kannada itself as a language?
I think when it comes to things like vandalism, it does hurt our cause because we are trying to say something which is more nuanced than this. To barge into places, to private offices and to commercial establishments and threaten workers or to deface, their signages, actually makes our cause look bad. What happens is people will conflate that with what we are saying and it makes us look bad. But having said that, I will say that there is a slight history to this because there was a Twitter storm called by Banavasi Balaga, a Kannada group, a Kannada advocacy group, which actually was arguing on more nuanced lines about having autonomy for states. And it's taken some 10 days, 12 days for the Namma Metro authorities to react. And the central government, through Venkaiah Naidu, reacted in a really bad way. And,
why did they react?
See, what is going to happen is a very sad thing now. What will happen is, if and when Namma Metro yields and comes over with a two-language policy, the vandalism acts will claim it was because of what they did that it happened and not because of sane voices of debate.
What did they do?
Came because the Namma Metro authorities didn't react in time.
But Namma Metro,
yes.
Sorry. Namma Metro has had, Prakash Belavadi has had Hindi since 2011. What is the problem with this?
See, what happened
what is the problem with trying to develop an Indian language as a link language? It all emanates from there. You're forcing your local language down people who are disillusioned, who are moving away from the local language pride, which is an unfortunate situation. You are wanting to develop, our founding fathers wanted to develop it. When they envisaged India, they thought in 15 years, they will be able to move away from English and embrace a common Indian language as a link language. At that time, even Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru envisioned it as Hindi. In the 60s, you had the South rising against this imposition. They said this is imposition. Whereas it was a vision of uniting India with a common Indian link language. It had got no disrespect to the local languages. So I don't understand this argument, Mr. Belavadi.
What argument?
That move Hindi out of the Namma Metro signages. Why?
Well, that I can answer quite easily. The idea of actually asking for Hindi as a link language, whether it was a right or wrong demand is not the point here. Such an idea was actually proposed by Mahatma Gandhi himself, as you rightly said. So it's not right or wrong to do that. Whether it is acceptable to everybody or not in a diverse nation such as India was the point then. And because voices of reason were not heard. Even then there were intemperate voices. You remember in the Constituent Assembly debate.
Mr. Belavadi, good evening. This is
one person
here.
said...
I just want to bring your attention back to the point that we're trying to make is what is the problem with the trilingual board? What is the problem
I wasn't trying to make it...
If a chain of stores decides to play music of other languages, what is the... And why are you not very vociferously condemning that today? I mean, I'm sure, and it's not just about vandalizing one single board, Mr. Belavadi. It's about the way they are talking in that intimidating, threatening tone to the employees and the staff. Where at one point he even says, oh, you are here, but you don't know Kannada, so what? If you've just been here for a month, even if you've been here for a day, you better know the language. This is the only language in this state. Are you not afraid that this is going to take a very dangerous turn now? And it shouldn't? This is not what it is about. Having pride in one's language doesn't mean hating other people or other cultures.
So I can't respond to everything you said because they're not questions. They're actually imputations. But I think it is dangerous if it actually develops along these lines. I agree with you that this is dangerous, yes.
Rahul Ishwar, let's open up the debate and go across. Rahul Ishwar, where is the problem? Is this the South versus North syndrome? How can it be a northern language? How can it be Hindi?
Two quick points. You know, as a proud South Indian... As a proud South Indian and an Indian, I believe Karnataka is one of the beautiful states of India, and Bangalore is perhaps the most cosmopolitan city here. Kannada is a beautiful language too, but in the name of Aluru Venkatarao, who worked tirelessly for Karnataka language Ekikarana and the Vodaya dynasty, the ancient Vijayanagara dynasty, these people were very respectful and they were very pluralist. Even Aluru Venkatarao, as a great person, knew Sanskrit, knew Marathi, knew English and so many other languages. So we all respect every local language, including Karnataka, Telugu, Malayalam or Tamil. But the point is, we should have a tri-language policy. Gandhiji, in spite of being a Gujarati, went on to appeal that we need a national link language, and that national link language being Hindi, spoken by the more number of people, was accepted by everyone. So why do we have a problem right now? This language pride should definitely be there, but there is a thin line between pride and chauvinism. There is a thin line between pride and prejudice. There is a thin line between totally being happy and proud.
And that line has been crossed and is being deliberately crossed, sir.
Karnataka being such a cosmopolitan state, which is even recognized worldwide, I would request Kannadigas to tone down their protest.
No, this is a cosmopolitan state. Yes, everybody agrees. All of these people who are protesting and saying Kannada only all know Hindi. They also know English. Some of them speak better Hindi than English. But they still have a problem. Apsara Reddy, good evening. What is the problem? Why this two language and that too what we will have as a colonial remnant which our founding fathers wanted to let go of, and we are still stuck with it 70 years down the line. But you will not accept an Indian language as a link language. What's the logic?
There is, no, absolutely. In a democracy, I think plurality has to be encouraged, also keeping in mind the local sentiments. I'm not averse to Hindi as a language being used on boards or on placards, as long as Tamil in our state is not ignored, because it's purely for convenience and comfort. And of course, having Hindi there is no issue for us. But also what happened in Karnataka, I mean, we're used to these kind of attacks, because even during the Kaveri issue, some hapless youngsters for just being Tamil were attacked because of the language. So I think, yes, the law should come down very strongly on them. And I don't mind Hindi being on boards. I think it is a national language, and why not?
No, but then what is the hullabaloo about? Stalin has a problem if Hindi is included in CBSE courses. Today, these people are defacing not just Hindi. They have a problem against English. They have a problem against Kannada, Telugu. They have a problem against Tamil. Aditya Menon, what's going on?
Well, I'm pretty amused at the way that you
How does what Stalin say matters? He's not in government and they've been voted out of power twice.
These fringe elements which you just showed right now have been
Minister
attacking
Jayalalitha madam
all these...
Apsara, just hold on a minute.
Someone else speaking in between.
Very pluralistic.
No, I think Apsara is misunderstood. Apsara, the question was to Aditya Menon, another of our panelists, just opening up the debate. I'll come back to you, Apsara, in a bit. Yes, Aditya.
So what we saw right now, the visuals that you showed a little while earlier, is a bunch of people who are actually attacking, and I agree with you, that's completely shameful and it's not right. But that's not the majority view of everyone else who's involved in the state itself. People are upset at the imposition of Hindi on them. And the reason for this is multifold, because to start with, first of all, it's not even like the majority of the country actually speaks Hindi. The 2001 census shows that only 25% of the population actually speak Hindi as their mother tongue, with an extended 16%.
Which
year? Extended 16%.
You're quoting figures from 16 years ago. The latest figures, we had the debate the other day.
Yeah, it's okay.
The latest figures are 40.
Your population grows in a similar way.
No, more than 50% of this country speaks Hindi, speaks and understands Hindi or a related dialect. Aditya, 80% of the people understand Hindi.
But the point is not about understanding. Now, why is it that we must have Hindi at all? Because there's a whole bunch of people who speak another language and you're imposing it. It's as foreign.
Why is it imposition? Where is the imposition happening, Aditya Menon? I'm sorry, I want to understand this. Where is the imposition happening? What do you call imposition?
It is a very subtle move. Ever since the present government has taken over.
Okay, what do you call? Give me examples. Give me examples of how the present government. Clearly, you mean the government in the center and not the Congress government that is sitting silent. That has sat in silence throughout all of these months.
When the new notes came out, there was nobody who discussed on how these notes are going to be. There was a bunch of people who decided that the Devanagari script has to be on that and the numerals were on that, and which incidentally is unconstitutional, because Article 343 very clearly states that all documents which are for pan-India should have only numerals which are of international numerals. So the way this is being done is very subtle and very slowly.
Okay, give me more examples. Give me examples of how me as a person living in a cosmopolitan city like Bengaluru the language is being imposed upon me. Explain to me that. How?
Language is being imposed on the people who are already there. What is happening is this is a subtle change. That's the point I'm trying to make. It is not that people are averse to Hindi. I'm not averse to Hindi. I speak Hindi. I encourage people learning more languages. But when they impose and they insist that you must have it in Hindi, and that is what is happening.
Must only have it in Hindi?
Maybe 40%
must only have it in Hindi? Must only have it in Hindi? Is that the problem? And I don't understand. Every single person who comes on this panel says, I have personally no problems. I am all right with it, but it is a problem. What does that even mean? If you're all right with it, why don't you go around telling other people as well?
Elements which are making the issue. The visuals you just showed right now are a bunch of people who are not at all subscribing to what we think.
Okay.
The majority of South Indians are not against the idea of Hindi, but being told that you must learn Hindi. That's not
Nobody
okay.
is saying that. Who's saying that today? Zafar Islam, is that what you're doing? Zafar Islam, is that what you're doing? Is that what the government of the day is doing? Telling everybody across the country, you must know Hindi today, the Rashtra Bhasha, as Venkaiah Naidu calls it?
See, I don't know why there is a hue and cry over Hindi as a language. One should take pride. This is our national language, and everybody should, rather than state imposing on them.
It's not our national language.
Actually, it's just the official language. I don't know what you mean by national language, Zafar Islam.
On its own.
It is not a national language.
What do you mean by national language?
Nobody is saying that you should not learn other language. Nobody should saying that you should not learn your mother tongue.
Mr. Zafar Islam, before you continue, let's just clarify this, else the entire discussion will derail and there will be a big fight about what is a national language and what isn't. But I'm sure you mean it is the official language of the union, but it's I don't think it's defined as the national language as per the constitution.
See, all I'm trying, Hindi is a language which is majority of the country speaks Hindi. And this is something which everyone should take pride. That majority.
Let me ask you this. One second, Aditya.
They should speak.
Aditya, let me ask.
Encourage people to speak instead of have this kind of anti-Hindi approach.
Let me ask Zafar Islam.
It's detrimental to growth. And this kind of attitude is only detrimental to this relationship
let me tell you.
Different states.
Let me ask you this, sir. If the south of the Vindhyas tomorrow decide that all of them will unite and speak one language, and that language is spoken more than Hindi, let's say it's Tamil, let's say it's Kannada, or even if it is Marathi, I'm not even saying any one of the languages decides Indian languages gets more popular than Hindi, will the North convert, and with the North, when not convert, will the North start learning that language? Or will they continue to say Hindi is still spoken most?
It's between East or North.
I'll tell you why I'm asking you this, Zafar Islam. The sentiment that comes across is all of North India wants South to learn Hindi, but no North Indian shows the interest to learn a South Indian language. That's where this divide comes from.
Anand, you have to... Anand, let me
the linguistic politics emanates from there, sir.
First of all.
Sir, we've seen this here in Maharashtra also. The Marathi,
if at all,
the entire core concept of Marathi Manus politics came from speaking Marathi, because they said the Gujaratis, the UP people, the people who come from Bihar who have lived here for 3 decades still can't speak a word of Marathi. Why can't they learn the local language? Why should we need to speak to them in their language? And that's where it all started. My question, sir, is the sentiment is you want us to learn your language, but you don't learn ours. Now, that's where it emanates. Let me ask you, how do you deal with it?
Anand, let me correct you. It is not our language. You want us to learn our language. What is this statement? It is an official language. Every Indian should learn it. This is what we are saying. That doesn't mean that they should.
Every official need not. Every Indian does not need to learn it.
No. Wait, Aditya, one sec. Now the counter to that, Zafar Islam, the counter to that is, sir, English is also an official language. Does everyone in North India speak English?
To learn English.
Let me ask you this, sir. English is also an official language. According to our constitution, even though our founding fathers wanted to do away with it 15 years later, it didn't. It's still an official language. So, but does all of North India speak English?
Which is
neither does all of South India, or East or the West.
Country. Yet you have preference for English, but not for Hindi, which is a
now you're taking the argument sideways. Tuhin Mishra, jump in. Tuhin Sinha, beg your pardon. Tuhin Sinha, jump in. Where do you stand on this? Shahid Siddiqui come in after Tuhin Sinha. But the question, sir, this is the sentiment, Tuhin Sinha. The sentiment that is provoked, on which the politics is being played, is this one. This is the sentiment that is provoked, and the politics is being played on this. कि ये आपसे हिंदी बुलवाएंगे, लेकिन they will never speak Tamil, they will never speak Kannada, they will never speak Marathi. Or any of the other languages, local languages. That's the sentiment with which the politics is being played.
So first of all, Anand, let me just set this straight. It's not an imposition at all. So I don't know why the word imposition is being used. It's a coexistence situation, and I would like to give you a parallel situation over here. You travel to any railway station of UP, Bihar, or Madhya Pradesh. You will find the sign. You'll find the name of the station written in 3 languages, which is English, Hindi, and Urdu. Now, there is not a single person in these 3 states who does not understand Hindi. And yet, Urdu is there. Why? Because it is out of respect for that language. Similarly, we are living in an age where in the last 25 years after the economic liberalization, which started in 1991, there has been immense cross-migration of people across the country. Today, most of the places which majorly had local population are turning into cosmopolitans. And I think out of respect for the cosmopolitan culture of that place, there is no harm in the 3 languages coexisting. It's as simple as that.
The counter to that is, sir,
what has happened today in Bangalore.
The counter to that is, sir, Tuhin, you know why activists like Prakash Belawadi are saying keep it as Kannada and English? Because they see that the moment it becomes 3 languages, after some time it becomes 2 languages in terms of English and Hindi. The local language vanishes. I'm telling you where this emerges from. That's why this resistance. I'm not saying the resistance is right. I'm not saying the resistance is right. I'm saying that's where it emanates. Please understand. Please get me. Please understand. That's where it emanates, saying that now you will say Kannada, Hindi and English. After some time Kannada will vanish. That's the fear. That is what is being fueled in the head. And that's why they say just keep Hindi away, because the moment Hindi gets in, Kannada will vanish.
So, So in which case we are just mixing up the 2 issues. I'll give you the example of Maharashtra. Maharashtra has taken effective steps to ensure that Marathi remains remains the main language.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think you're just mixing up the 2 issues. That's a potential fear which may never come true.
Okay, before I go across to Shahid Siddiqui, let me get in a response from Mr. Prakash Belawadi on that. Let me get in a response, Mr. Prakash Belawadi, your response to that. And as I come to you also, this is the danger of the majoritarian argument, isn't it? In a state like Karnataka, you may want to say that the locals in majority speak Kannada, and that has to be the language over here. And then you start talking about the entire country, and then you want to give the argument that the majority of the people in this country apparently speak Hindi, so that must be the national language. Now, that clearly is the danger of a majoritarian argument. But your response to what Tuhin is saying, just do enough to ensure that Kannada doesn't fade out. Shouldn't be at the cost of something else, is the charge.
No. See, the thing is, in the first place, it is not because of pride or morality or ideology or that people are opposed to Hindi. It's just that most Kannadigas or people of Karnataka don't know Hindi, they don't understand it. This is one. Two, you must remember what happened. In the middle of 2016, the union government wrote to the metro authorities and said you must have Hindi displayed. The metro authorities said that in the agreement there was no provision for language imposition, so they will not agree to it. But in December they wrote again, the union urban development ministry wrote saying in non-Hindi states, Hindi should be displayed in metro services. And then the metro authorities agreed. But now, as of 3 days ago, because the agitation began,
as a
the metro authorities
or
wrote
as
to the state government asking what should be done.
Link language, Mr. Belawadi, that's the difference we are trying to make. As a replacement, as an additional language.
No, you must
differentiate
see, you can't
that. It's imposition. It's imposition.
You can't dumb down this discussion.
I am not dumbing down the discussion. I am not dumbing down. You can't cover over a series of facts and then call it imposition.
You are just blocking because you don't have an argument.
What is your argument against a trilingual board is my first question to you, Mr. Belawadi. What was the argument against a trilingual board?
No, there is no
provision for a
trilingual board.
What is the problem against trilingual board?
This is pointless. You know, you just can go on talking. I am not interested, actually.
No, Mr. Belawadi, make your point, sir. Please don't lose your cool. The question that's being
You have to listen.
Yes, we are hearing you.
Only if you listen, I'll talk. You cannot...
Go ahead, Mr. Belawadi.
You can't bluster me. I'm not going to listen.
Not at all. We are asking you, Mr. Belawadi. Go ahead, sir. Please tell us, what is the problem against a trilingual board?
So listen then. I am telling you, you have to listen. Now, don't have too much to say. In December, Venkaiah Naidu's Urban Development Ministry wrote to the metro again saying you must have display in Hindi also. But Karnataka since 1974 only has a two-language policy on all state projects. And the state is argued this is a state project, we will not allow. The problem is in context. The context is that all the highway signages are slowly turning just to English and Hindi all across Karnataka, and the government of Karnataka has written to the center about this, and we don't have a reply still on that.
Okay, right. It's a big conspiracy charge against the BJP, but Shahid Siddiqui, why don't you come in?
Turning to Hindi.
Okay, Mr. Prakash Belawadi, your point made. Let's take it across to other panelists. Zafar Islam, be prepared to respond to that. This is a big conspiracy charge. How slowly and subtly two of our panelists say you're bringing about an imposition of the Hindi language. But before that, Shahid Siddiqui, come on to the debate, please. Where do you stand?
It's a very unfortunate situation. I thought that the language debate is over in this country. Country has moved on. But to pull back the country into this language quagmire is very dangerous, because India is a country of beautiful languages. Kannada is one of the most beautiful languages of the country, and we have all sorts of languages, and we will have to allow all the languages to flower. I don't agree with this argument that we need to replace English by Hindi. The fact today is that English has become a global language, and that's why we are debating here in English. And English has become much more popular than it was in 1947. Today it has become the language of the aspirational India. So let's not think in terms of Hindi versus English. But the fact is that Kannada should be promoted, Kannada should be allowed to flourish. It is being promoted. But at the same time, Hindi should be there as a third language.
Okay, but Mr. Siddiqui, what many people...
Kannada is, I think, wrong. But I think false fears are being created. Politics is being played on fears
absolutely.
of the Kannadas. And politics, and we should not try to impose.
Well, unfortunately, the Congress here isn't here tonight to tell us why is it that they allowed this kind of a confusion to prevail in the state of Karnataka, especially Bengaluru, and today also they stay silent. Some of them, though, have come out backing these pro-Kannada groups. Clearly, there is politics at play, but the big political charge, Siddiqui, and let's take this across to Zafar Islam, is that you are slowly moving towards imposition of Hindi. People are in fear of that.
City only of Kannadigas. It is a global city.
Exactly, absolutely, I agree with you. But Zafar Islam, go ahead,
develop
please.
as a global mass cosmopolitan city.
Yes, Zafar Islam, go ahead.
No, first of all, let me just clarify our position. Love for mother language, mother tongue is absolutely perfectly fine. Nobody has any reservation about it.
They shouldn't.
But dislike for Hindi, which is spoken by majority of this countrymen, is something which is very strange. Secondly, one of the panelists was saying that it is a state project. Metro is not a state project. It is being also funded jointly by this center. So it is a center and a state project where 3 languages should be there, and one of them has to be Hindi. So it is not that Venkaiah Naidu is imposing.
You heard the reason why they countered.
It has to be there because
you heard. Can we bring back Prakash Belawadi, sir? The reason.
This kind of a statement.
No, sir. The reason why
you're misleading people.
No, the reason why. No, Zafar Islam. You saw. I said, sir, it is one language which is. It is one apprehension that leads to the other. Zafar Islam.
You learn. You must encourage people to learn. And because
Zafar Islam, it is one apprehension that leads to the other. I agree with the fact that India needs to have an Indian link language. My personal opinion here, although whatever 2 cents worth it is, there are a lot of people who believe that there needs to be a common link language that connects India. And it need not necessarily be English, it can be an Indian language. Let's work towards that, but that not at the cost of the local language and their identity. Prakash Belawadi's first concern, they tried to resist what happened with Namma Metro because their allegation is that across the state on roadways, the signages are changing and Kannada is being moved out. I told you, sir, that's where the fear came from. The moment Hindi gets in, the local language slowly gets erased. Now please reassure and please tell Mr. Belawadi that is wrong. That in Karnataka, all road signs, all milestones will have Kannada also. They are not just English and Hindi.
And bank forms.
Anand.
Bank forms.
Anand.
See, sir, this is where it is all arising from. Please address this. Yes, Mr. Zafar Islam.
Anand, not one, but actually many senior leaders and ministers have spoken about it. They have clarified it, that there is absolutely no question of imposing Hindi as a language. But there has to be some preference for Hindi as a language by every Indian, because it's a language which can be used as a linked language. It is a language which is an official language, and the language which should be taken pride in speaking, because it's a language which express sentiments of the majority of this.
No. Okay.
Having
so
said that,
are you saying Zafar Islam? Are you saying Zafar Islam?
Of the mother tongue
that there is indeed an intention of moving towards making Hindi the common link language across the country, because that's what they are citing as the fear and where the resistance is coming from.
Let me ask this question to Mr. Belwale. Which other language you think can be used as a link language?
Okay. Prakash Belawadi and then Aditya Menon can also perhaps come into that and say which other language can be the link language.
And you have to respect that this is the only language, and
you ask a question, I will answer.
You cannot have any other language.
Yes, Zafar Islam, he's got it. He's got the point. Let him respond, please.
You should advocate about it rather than having reservation about it.
Zafar Islam, let him respond, please. Yes.
See, what I think is, this is a very difficult question, and nobody can have the perfect answer for this. Because we are such a diverse people with such a plurality, let us actually put this question to debate it in Parliament, have the states represented with their opinions from the assemblies, and then come to a negotiated solution.
What's your view, sir?
2 languages, 3 languages, 6 languages, any one of them. Once you have a negotiated, transparent policy, all of us will back you. Don't do this backdoor, surreptitious thing. That's all we have said.
Okay, what's your viewpoint, though, personally speaking? What is your viewpoint? I agree with you. Don't make it a backdoor. Don't make it a subtle, surreptitious thing. But what is your viewpoint? How can we arrive at any other language as the link language for the country? It's 2017.
I will tell you, for as long as I know, there have been poor Tamil labor migrants in Bangalore. Actually, they've suffered a lot also.
No, I mean for the country.
We have never displayed Tamil boards for
Mr.
them.
Belawadi, I mean for the country. For the country, do you think Tamil should be the link language across the board?
What is more important, I think what I
Let's get realistic, Mr. Belawadi. It's 2017. Let's get realistic. People are learning international languages so that it's easier for them to travel, to get a job overseas, to live elsewhere, to travel elsewhere. People are traveling across the country. There are so many people in our country today who don't have one state as their own home.
You have a listening problem.
I don't have a listening problem. I'm not getting specific answers from you, sir. I am not getting specific answers from you. My question to you, perhaps you didn't get it, was what do you think can be the common link language for the country? And you responded with the plight of Tamilians in Karnataka.
Yeah, I'm kind of tedious and long-winded, unlike you.
So, do you have an answer now? I'm listening.
See, the thing is, I prefer English, but I can't say it's true for everybody. That's the problem.
Okay, sure. No, I was asking your own personal opinion. Aditya Menon has been shaking his head very vehemently. Aditya Menon, you want to come in?
About other languages?
Yeah,
you have expressed your preference.
We've taken the debate to the next level. We've taken the debate to the next level. Let's move beyond imposition now. Yeah.
Perhaps, but I'm completely in agreement with what
he has very clearly said.
One by one, please.
English today, Indian language. That's not English as a foreign language.
One by one, please. Zafar Islam, Shahid Siddiqui. Zafar Islam, Shahid Siddiqui, let's listen into what the other side is saying, please. Aditya Menon, please. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, going by any yardstick, the geographical boundaries within which this country now exists never was there in the past, okay? Even when the Maurya Empire with Ashoka, the south was never touched. During the Mughal Empire, never. So we've always had different languages. We became this one big country under the British. Yes, it's shameful. We've had a bad past. Everything is good. But we are a country because of that. And the present language we are speaking, we are communicating it. You are a national channel. No Hindi channel is a national channel. Only English channels are. Why? Because everyone across the country does speak this. And this is the language of prosperity. This is what has taken India forward into the ideas and everything.
Let me also tell you, sir. Let me also tell you.
What is this thing with Hindi?
We represent a very small percentage of the entire audience. The largest audience of any news channel is enjoyed by English, by Hindi, and some of the other regional news channels, even from the south of India. So let me tell you that Hindi, Tamil and Telugu are spoken more than English is across the country. Let me tell you this also, sir. But Rahul Ishwar is coming in. So that's not the argument, Aditya Menon. We have been taught and we have been forced to continue to follow remnants of the Raj, which our founding fathers wanted to get rid of within a decade and a half of our independence. But that's not happened because the South rose then. Yes, Rahul Ishwar. Yes, Rahul Ishwar.
Not Hindi. This is a very dangerous argument that we are giving our audience. India is not India because of British. We are a nation and a civilization from time immemorial.
Anand, I wish to come in over here.
Went in search of India.
That is ridiculous. Rahul Ishwar is talking completely baseless things. There is nothing called time immemorial. We as a country never existed as India before. What we are is a
country. You know, gentlemen, my limited point, when I asked that question, calm down everybody. My only limited point when I asked that question was for all of you to realize that you may want to today sit back and push back on any language, but every time you do that, please do it with the realization that you will always come down to this fight and there is no solution to it then. So let's just be a little more open about accepting all languages. Perhaps a trilingual is a better idea as you go around the country. It makes life easier for all of us. After all, they're all languages of our country. Tuin, you wanted to come in. Please go ahead, make your point, and then we go across to Shahid Siddiqui. But I hope my point has been made well here and you understand what I meant.
Tanvi, one of my novels has recently been brought out, translated and brought out in Kannada. And I have a lot of respect for Kannada, as I have with all Indian languages. But when the question of finding a common linking language across the country arises, I don't see how that language can be any other language other than Hindi, simply because of the logic that maximum number of people, be 30%, be 32%, you would have the latest data, but the maximum number of people speak that language. So I don't see any other logic in that. But that does not mean, that we don't protect the existing languages. The argument over here is very similar to what we must have faced 200 years ago when the Britishers came here. Should we have embraced English at all? We embraced English, but that has not belittled Hindi any which way.
No, it's a very
similar argument.
Tuhin, the fact is, days of the Raj, at that time, English was imposed on us. And now, 200 or 300 years later, it's become part of our culture. अब सब हम तो भूल ही गए चार generations के बाद किसको याद रहेगा कि क्या हुआ था उस वक्त. That's the reality. And Shahid Siddiqui ji,
as a well-wisher,
देखिए मैं तो हमेशा मानता हूँ, I have never shirked from speaking in Hindi or any of the regional languages. जब मौका मिले मेरी फूट पड़ती है देसी भाषा. But that's the reality. But that's our identity. It's not about not taking pride. But the fact, Mr. Shahid Siddiqui, what I'm trying to say, I agree with you when we say we need to develop one Indian language as the link language. And so far, the effort has been towards Hindi because the founding fathers saw that the majority of the connect across the country happened on Hindustani or Hindi. Yes.
Can I come in?
Ji.
Look, let's not open this Pandora's box. We are already in a situation where people feel that many ideas are being imposed on them. And therefore, let's not start this debate. Because it is not essential that we should have only one language as a link language. There can be 2 or 3 languages which can be link languages. And secondly, English today, the way it is spoken, the way it is there, is no more a foreign language. It's not coming from America. It's not coming from Britain anymore. It's English. It has become part of our culture. Even when we speak Hindi, we use nearly 30-40% English words. When we speak Kannada or Tamil or Bengali, we speak a lot of English words. So all the languages are mixing up. It's a melting pot. Let it work in a system. Take its natural course. Let's not try to impose one language or the other. Nations are not built on the basis. India is a different country. India is not France.
Let's learn to embrace as many languages as we can.
If you try to do that, then you are dividing the country.
It just enriches us more. It just enriches us more.
Don't try to impose this unity on the country.
I'll just like to
Yes, Mr. Siddiqui, in fact, I was shocked when I saw some of these activists out there in Bengaluru today saying, one of those guys said, I have been here for the past 1 hour in a shopping mall and you've only been playing English songs or Hindi songs. Why aren't you playing any Kannada songs? This is in Karnataka. At least 60 to 70%. He had a measurement system also. At least 60 to 70% should be Kannada. And then you can decide what else you want to play. And I was shocked that people are actually taking this argument to that level. Let's bring in some of our viewers as well.
Elements. This is not the This is not the majority view of people.
I'm sure, Aditya Menon, but the danger lies in when you start, but the danger lies in the minute you turn away, look away from what these guys are doing, the minute the state government shuts down and does not take action against them, it becomes a threat. I completely agree with you. I am sure the majority doesn't believe or agree with them.
Anti-English have a voice and these fringe elements can come out. It's because the center is now trying to impose Hindi in some form or way.
So what is the state doing?
Or because the state is encouraging them, or because the state is encouraging them as allowing this confusion to happen and then silently sitting back and watching it because it works for them. As the entire pride and that sentiment rises, we are all aware of it. We can see through the politics. Mr. Menon, I'm sure you can as well. Giridhar is on the phone line. He's calling us from Bengaluru. Good evening, Giridhar. Tell us what you want to say.
Good evening to all of you. I just want to say one thing. Rather than going around to the malls and, to the metro stations and blacking out Hindi, let all these people do one thing, let them go to all the commercial establishments, like, the main money-churning things are, like, the movie theaters, multiplexes, which already, charges a bomb during a weekend compared to any other city. Let them go there and ban all the non-Kannada movies. Okay? For example, you have, tomorrow is a Friday. Yeah. If you go to Book My Show, there are more Telugu and other language movies releasing than a Kannada movie. So let them go ahead and ban all these movies and see what the business goes to.
Don't give them ideas. They might just take it up and turn it into a violent, vigilant.
More importantly, Giridhar, you should have actually suggested why don't these elements go down?
All these movie halls are owned by non-Kannadigas.
Or hold screenings of Kannada movies and open cafes, book cafes, book reading libraries with more local language there.
First of all, why don't they go to schools and start teaching Kannada? Let's see how many of them can actually engage with the students and encourage them to learn Kannada at that level, at the grassroots level, and take pride. Wonder how many of their own kids go to Kannada medium schools and they take pride in that, because that's where it all starts, sir, from the grassroots. Giridhar, thank you for calling in. Selva from Chennai. Yes, Selva. Good evening.
That's the case with everybody.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Please. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. We are very proud in speaking Tamil because it's our language. Okay. Here, slowly, what is happening, that Tamil was replaced by Hindi and English in all neighborhoods. So our local people, they couldn't see where are they going and they couldn't use the road. That is slowly emerging. And when we are calling Hindi as a linking language in South India, why can't you use all South Indian language as a linking language in North India? When we going to North India, finding it very difficult to... Yeah.
Sir, my only counter to that, sir, is the moment Tamil starts being inclusive rather than being exclusive, Kannada starts being inclusive rather than being exclusive, Telugu starts being inclusive rather than being exclusive, more people will start speaking the language. That's as simple as that. You don't force it. You encourage people to learn the language. You try and create an atmosphere where the language flourishes, not where the language is imposed. That's as simple as that. That's the reason why Hindi is becoming popular, because it is not being imposed, sir. It's just becoming popular. That's as simple as that.
Anand,
Yes.
one line too.
Yes, Rahul Ishwar.
Well, I disagree with you on that, Anand. It is being imposed.
Well, let's disagree. That's what debate is about. Aditya Menon coming to you after Rahul Ishwar. Yes, Rahul
I'm a strongly
Ishwar.
pro-Hindi person. I'm strongly a three-language person. But having said that, there has been some flaw in the implementation of three-language policy. I'm strongly pro-Hindi. But having said that, there has been a slight kind of a flaw in the implementation of three-language policy. The people up north should have been at least be more sensitized regarding a South Indian language, any language for that matter. Let's be honest and accept this. I'm a person who is totally for three-language policy and pro-Hindi. But even people like MPs like Tarun Vijay has gone on record saying that at least a South Indian language, maybe Tamil, which is a grand, glorious language, at least they should learn the
Sir, I agree with you. Rahul Ishwar, I agree with you.
Be honest about this and let us concede that space.
Rahul Ishwar, that was one of the first questions I put here on the Newshour when I asked Zafar Islam that if the South rises together collectively and tries to propound one language, there will be more people speaking that language in this country, or at least it will be a 50-50 situation. So will the North start learning that language? And that's the question they need to honestly answer, because that's where the spirit comes across. And Aditya Menon, you know what, sir, today what happened? One of these guys, when they were at this mall, some of the questions that they asked, that's a dangerous trend. You might dismiss them as fringe, but if they are out on the prowl there intimidating people, it brings the city a bad name.
No. Don't get me wrong. Not for a second am I saying that it can be washed off and looked away from. It's not true. That is completely wrong, and they have to be penalized for that. It's wrong. But that is not representing the majority sentiment, is what I tried to say. Whoever has done that is wrong. They have to be caught for that.
Yeah, and you disagreed.
The point I was also trying to make is that it is the atmosphere in which these people can fester and create such issues is when this kind of imposition happens on society. If there was no Hindi imposition, they wouldn't have had a voice in the first place.
Okay. We go to our next caller who's calling us from Kolhapur.
Mr. Belavari, after this caller, sir.
Yes,
we'll come to you after this call.
Okay, Ajay is on the phone line. As I go across to Ajay, who's calling in from the same state where I am currently living, here is my suggestion. Let's just give this whole trilingual thing a chance. You know what happens in the local trains in Mumbai? They use 3 languages. Now we know the next station is Dadar in 3 different languages. And we all know that. So effectively, everyone who lives in Mumbai and travels by the local train has learned 3 languages, this way or that way. I think that works out best for everyone, but that's just my own personal view. Ajay is calling in. Ajay, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I am a Maharashtrian. I speak Marathi. And suppose if I don't understand English, I don't understand even any other language, say for Kannada, Chennai, Tamil, and if I am traveling how could I know which station I'm approaching? Tomorrow these people may say don't make Hindi announcement even on railway stations because it's hurting our emotions. Then what will be the chaos that will be happening?
Okay, point there made. As we begin to wrap up, Mr. Prakash Belavadi, maybe you want to address that and also give your closing remarks.
No, I just wanted to tell Aditya this. I have a minor dispute with what he said. You know, that the thing is that this is not the majority opinion. But what will happen with a thing like this, because you take a long time to decide when a controversy like this breaks out,
right,
and it's an emotional issue and it's so hot, these people will claim it's because of them that a change happens.
Right.
Because today, it should have been breaking news, in fact, on this debate. Today, the Karnataka government, through its Kannada Development Authority, has written to the metro, directing them to take down the Hindi signs.
No, that's what.
And put only a two-language.
No, I'm aware of that.
Now, they will claim
Melody.
because of what they did, it happened, and then it becomes the majority idea. That's the worry.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, sir, that's why we said this is just pure politics at play. It is very convenient for them to get, the sold to the highest bidder groups like KRV and come out and then ask them to create some ruckus so that they can put out an agenda which is contrary to what the centre says because of the disposition. It's a political game in which the people are caught up. Rahul says, I think it's a political game. Even our Prime Minister's mother tongue is Gujarati, but he speaks Hindi. Ishwar has said dirty politics and nothing else, attempt to divert attention from problems. CJ from Karnataka on Involve says, Karnataka government is at fault to kneeling before these fringe elements on metro issue, now boil the state. Anonymous says, do you have the courage to learn Kannada if I know Hindi? The other aspect is Escatic says, I am from Northeast, but I like Hindi because I can visit my country proudly with this language because it's a unifier, it's a common bond. While tackling the problem of a link language, we have to be pragmatic and not sentimental. Plenty of responses that are coming through, and they all are seeing through the politics. But what I would like to ask these members of the KRV is, how many of you are actually teaching your children and speaking to them in your mother tongue? How many of you are going to the schools and saying, learn your mother tongue? Take pride in that. Be it Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Gujarati, whatever it is. How many of us are reading, writing and speaking our mother tongue along with another Indian language today? That's the thought we leave you with on the News Hour. Thank you.